Welcome to Virtual Lunch in the Exhibit Marketers Cafe. I am Marlis Arnold, and I am your host slash barista slash lead waiter. I don't know. But welcome to Virtual Lunch. If this is your first time, welcome. We do this every week, although I will be taking a couple weeks off a little later in the summer. But we're doing this every Tuesday to build a community for the trade show industry. If you are a regular, which I see we have one of our regulars here today, Rama Birfus. Hi, Rama from overcast San Diego. Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row now. You said you've had a cloudy or rainy day. So hopefully California is going to get back in the swing of things here soon with the sunny weather. But anyway, welcome back, Rama. And we have a special guest coming up here in just a few minutes, but I want to go through like we always do. We've got a few announcements, ideas, resources, different kinds of things here in the beginning, but I want to go over some things. First off is the Barcelona Opera. It's interesting to watch how a lot of the arts and culture are handling the challenges, should we say. And so the Barcelona Opera, it was really interesting. They were able to have their first concert, but they didn't have an audience. So instead they had an audience of plants. And no, I don't mean like planted people. They had literally plants. They had 2,292 plants sitting in all the seats. So they played to an audience of plants, and then the plants were donated to people in the healthcare field. And I thought that was really a clever way. So of course it was a live streamed concert, but they had these plants there in the audience. So anyway, and here is the link for that article. Again, lots of these links really long. They're in the Facebook comments. I'll add them later into the YouTube comments. So whichever platform you're joining us from, we'll be able to have that for you. But anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, and Rama says that it's so common that it's got a name of June Gloom. Who would have thought? Okay. All right. So, and then in the same theme of the arts and opera, the Metropolitan Opera is doing nightly live streams of some of their archives. So Alan, my husband Alan, is here as always in the background. He's the magic making all the links happen here. So he's going to put that up. This is probably the shortest link of the day, but the Metropolitan Opera, and they stream a different opera every night. So you can go check that out. They also have virtual backgrounds. So if you would love to have, look like you're on stage with this giant auditorium behind you, you can have that for your virtual background on your live streams. All right. And then also Google has an area called Google Arts and Culture, and they have over 2,000 different museums that you can tour virtually. So, I'm trying to give you some links here. We're in summertime and people are, not able to maybe go on vacation. I know I have a friend that's supposed to be in Europe right now, and so their vacation got canceled. But, there's all different kinds of fun things that you can do, especially if you have kids. You can take some fun trips. This is the link for the Google Museums tours. A few weeks ago, you may remember I mentioned Camp Yampire. It was an online weekend virtual camp for adults. I actually participated in that this past weekend, and it was a hoot. They had crafts, they had murder mystery, they had, we had sing-alongs, they had, nighttime glow dance parties. It was just hysterical. But, so it really is fun to see. And we're going to talk, our theme today is marketing with heart. So we're going to talk about things that you can do to really connect with your audience. Another virtual tour that I wanted to share, two more different kinds of tours, is Central Park. I just stumbled onto this one. It's a virtual reality tour that's actually narrated. And so you can tour Central Park and look at all the different things, and then, also learn a little bit about it. So there's the link for that one. So that's kind of fun. And then this last one is an immersive display that was done based on the life and the art of Van Gogh. And so it's really, I think this one I highly recommend, not only just because it's interesting, but because it's it could spark some ideas for you in the trade show world. I'll just put it that way. It's basically Van Gogh's art brought to life. It's using projection mapping, if you're familiar with that technique, where it's, the graphic is projected onto an object, and it actually, all the artwork, they made it so it comes to life. So like if there's ocean waves, it actually looks like the waves are moving, or the wheat is blowing in the field, or whatever. It's just very, very cool. So I recommend you take a look at that and get some inspiration from that. And then also, since Rama is here, I actually have a link from her website to share with you. This is just hot off the press. This is, we talked, Rama was our special guest a few weeks ago. We talked about promotional products and creative ideas there. This is such a clever thing, and it just came out, as far as I know, just came out this week. I saw it yesterday, and Rama sent me the link last night. But it's called Airplane Pockets. And so if you can envision what it is, it's like a sleeve that you put, it slides on over your airplane tray. And so it covers the tray, but then there's a pocket that hangs down below the tray. So you can have like your phone or whatever, but it comes with hand sanitizer and, Rama, you'll have to correct me, I think it was 5 disposable masks. But anyway, it's this really cool set of good things for travelers. So if you're looking for a creative idea that you can brand and give away, get in touch with Rama. So anyway, okay, so now on to some industry news. I saw a recent survey where 36% of people said that they're willing to return to trade shows now, but 30% said they would wait 1 to 6 months. So that's one thing we're going to have to keep in mind as we go forward, is that not everybody's going to be ready to come back at the same time. And so that's where, virtual events are still going to continue to be a very important tool. I think we've all learned during this time that virtual events are not a substitute, but they are a good alternative or a good addition or bridge, I guess you could say, between, where we are now and where we want to be. But I thought that was interesting. That same survey also said that 68% of people said that they would be willing to travel, while 14% would not. So again, there's still going to be that element of people that are not willing to travel, or at least not for a while. So the airline pockets might not be a good gift for those people. But oh, and Rama corrected me, 10 masks are included. So, and here's her contact information if you're interested. But like I said, I thought that was pretty clever and something new and different, because, we're kind of all tired of seeing the same things over and over. On another poll from Meetings Today, which I'm going to have Alan put that up, said that 35% of people are not ready to meet until 2021. So, I know we're all trying to get the industry going again, but there's still going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be ready. 18% said that they would be ready to meet in August or September, and 15% said October or November. So there's the link for that survey. And this, again, was meeting planners who were saying this. And then there's an ongoing one. I think I may have mentioned it before, but it's from Imeet. It's called the Planner Confidence Index. And Alan's going to share that link too. They do a weekly survey. And so they're tracking all the answers over time. And so this has been kind of interesting to watch how it's trending. Oh, Marco. Hi, Marco, joining us from Italy. Marco was our guest last week. So it's always fun to have our regulars back here. Okay, here's the Imeet Planner Confidence Index. We're headed the wrong way here in that at the end, at the end of April, the statistic was that only 21% of the planners that they surveyed thought that meetings wouldn't get started again till 21. Now that's up to 64%. So I think, and we won't get into a lot of this today because we've got our special guest here, but we're going to have, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a special guest giving us basically a state of the industry. And we're going to be able to kind of get a better feel for what's going on and why. If you're following the industry at all, you know that some cities are ready to get started again and even starting to have events. Then you've got other cities like Chicago that there's a big giant question mark on when anything can happen in Chicago. So anyway, it's an interesting ride, which is one reason we're doing these weekly virtual lunches, is so I can help keep you updated, because I know it's a full-time job just trying to follow the industry news. So I know nobody probably has time to do that. So I'm trying to follow as much as I can for you, keep you updated. A couple other little news tidbits. I heard an interesting rumor this week from a friend of mine who lives in Vegas, which our guest today is from Vegas, so maybe she'll have some insights. But there's an article Alan's going to put up here that the Luxor may be torn down as a result of all of this. So I know for those of us who are regulars in the Vegas scene, convention scene, we probably have a love-hate relationship with the Luxor. I know I do. By the way, if it rains in Vegas, the Luxor leaks. I had to move rooms once in the middle of the night. But the Luxor is like a landmark. So, I mean, that would be kind of sad. So hopefully that doesn't happen. By the way, it opened in October of '93. So it's been around a long time now. And then a couple other articles, kind of a both sides of the coin thing here. InfoComm recently held a virtual show, and they exceeded expectations. So this first article is talking about how, they felt like their show was a success. Okay. And a lot of other shows. I just attended United Fresh earlier this month, and their show was phenomenal. And I mean, I'm seeing buzz all over the internet about it. So anyway, so that was good. And they had a large international audience. On the flip side, China's Canton Fair, there's another article I'm going to share here in a second, that they fell flat, as to quote this article. So I don't know if that's a cultural thing. Like in Asia, maybe it's not, the virtual shows aren't as well received. It could be it wasn't as well run. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of variables here. But anyway, I thought that was interesting, that those two perspectives, that I saw both of these just over the weekend. Okay, here's the China one. So it's like, it's kind of, the whole Charles Dickens thing. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So, I don't know, but I do know there is potential for doing virtual shows well. And I've seen some that were done outstandingly well. I've also seen some that were not. So anyway, Rama says it's not because of the pandemic. They're looking to redo Excalibur and Luxor because they're considered outdated. And that is something that they said in the article, was that it was because the themed hotels are not the thing. So it may not happen for about 5 years. So anyway, but yeah. And one thing my friend said when she shared it was, she's like, I will really miss the beam. I've used it to guide my way home. So anyway, okay. So our topic for today is marketing with heart. And I've got a special guest coming on. There's so many things that we can be doing right now to really connect with heart and to build emotional connections with our audience. And so our guest today is Rhiannon Andersen from Steelhead Productions, which a lot of you know as the Exhibit Happy people. You may recognize these.
Thank you.
But Rhiannon is going to share what Steelhead has been doing and what they've got, maybe some insights into what they've got coming up too. But this just, you guys are so good at marketing with heart. I mean, like I said, exhibit happy. I mean, that kind of has to be a core value for you. But tell us a little bit about what you've been doing over these past few months to connect with your audience.
Sure. So I'll start by sharing that, Steelhead is guided by a credo that oversees all of our decision making as an organization. And the credo consists of our 8 core values, and one of them is optimism. And so we try to be optimistic as an organization, as individuals, and then as a collective, because we know that optimism is inspiring to people. We've had our values put in place for about 12, 13 years now. And the overarching theme of the values is it's not just what we do, it's how we do it that matters. And so as the issues with COVID started to arise in our industry, I recognized it just as an owner and the CMO as an opportunity to double down on what we believe to be true and have been our kind of gift in the industry. As a very values-based driven organization, which is where Exhibit Happy comes from as well. It's part of that credo statement. So so we've just taken a lot of energy because, we weren't focused on shows as so many of the others in our industry, and decided to be a light during times of darkness. And so we've put together a lot of different programs. You mentioned that we had our drive-in drop when you and I were emailing, which was a donation opportunity. And we knew, though, that, everybody, especially in the trade show industry, we're a helpful bunch of people, and we show up all hands on deck when we need something. Even it extends into our competitors and our vendors, and for our clients, we just tend to have a giving spirit. And so, though giving during times of crisis and uncertainty can be nerve-wracking, we decided that if everybody just gave something small, that the impact collectively, the compound effect, could be great, and it would give people that little bit of like, I did something during this time of uncertainty to help somebody who may be more hard off than we are, which is a statement considering what's going on in our industry right now.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't small. I mean, your donation drive did not end up being small. Tell us a little bit more about how that worked.
Yeah, we were so excited to extend out the opportunity in a really safe way. So we had a few steelheaders in our parking lot, and we set up tables so that people could drive by and do a no-touch donation. And we opened it up to friends and family, and we ended up having hundreds and hundreds of dollars gifted in cash and gift cards. We had 2 truckfuls of donated items, food, hygiene items, baby items, clothing. I mean, you name it, just so many items for a shelter in town that works with those who are at risk of domestic violence, and then another food bank, 3 Square, that's in Vegas as well. And then, so surprisingly, across the parking lot, one of our neighbors has a warehouse, and one of his clients had a bunch of bottled water that they were donating, and he gave us 26 pallets of water, which we're still in the process of distributing out to people in Vegas. But we felt really proud of our community, and then having been a steward of such good work.
That's so awesome. I'm glad you solved the mystery of the water, because I saw your post that you had like all these pallets of water, and I thought, wow, who donated that? So that's really awesome. So it was a matter of just kind of being in the right place at the right time on that one.
Yeah, it was. And, my personal philosophy is the universe works in mysterious ways. So it was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, you put the word out there, and people just kind of come out of everywhere, so that's just really cool. Well, I know that you not only are known for what you do for the community and what you do for your customers, but you also have a great environment for your team as well.
Yeah,
In
thank you.
fact, I saw that you were recently named as one of Nevada's best places to work.
Yay! Yes,
So,
we were. Yeah, we feel really proud about that.
so tell me a little bit more about the, I know you have a lot of different programs you do, so like the employee
Yeah.
wellness and different things. So tell us about that.
Thank you for asking. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, we all tend to spend more time with our coworkers and in our places of employment than we do where we get to pick to be personally or around
Or
the
we
people
used
who
to.
we used to. That's right. That's right. And so, we took that, the executive leadership team at Steelhead, took that really seriously. And so, going back to the values, we wanted to create a collective of people who all showed up similarly. And so we use our values as kind of a guiding light around hiring. And then, so when you have a collective of people whose values are all relatively similar, it made way for creating programs to bring people together that everybody could get excited about. We have a Leaders or Readers book club, so we pick a book a quarter for personal professional development, and then we meet monthly and we do a little work sheet and have a conversation about the chapters that we've read. We have
Fun.
we have a Give Happy program. So Steelhead makes bottom line profit resources available for the employees to decide how they want to donate them out into the community. We have our wellness program, so we bring in nutrition coaches, meditation coaches, personal development, so that people, when they show up in virtual space, they feel confident on how to navigate their personal brand. So, and financial management. So we really
Wow.
do believe, that when people feel strong personally, they can show up even better professionally.
Well, and I think that is so key, especially now because everybody is feeling disconnected and and there's stress on so many different levels. And so to have your company actually showing caring and empathy and heart means so much. I know yesterday I saw a post on LinkedIn of a guy who had just been let go from, well, it was Hyatt, but he said that during the time that they'd been struggling, one of the things that their company had done was give them bags of groceries. I mean, sometimes it's just things like that, just showing that you care, that you relate. And I think that's what's really cool about what you guys are doing, because employees have no doubt that Steelhead cares about them as a person and not just as, somebody to get a job done.
Yeah, I really appreciate our executive leadership team because we all embody that, not because it sounds good or that other companies are doing it, so we feel pressured to show up authentically. We really care about our employees and want to be an example that companies can have purpose in combination with profit. And I believe that that's a new wave that will emerge, because work-life balance, and we're all learning this right now, right? It's like work-life integration. And in order to have this be a more sustainable environment for employees, I think it's important for employers to recognize that people care, yes, about what they do. They also want to be connected to how they do it.
Well, and that's very true, because it's not, like you said, I love that it's the idea of people over profit. It's not, too many companies look at it as their people are just a means to an end. Right. And not that the people are the company. Yeah. And so I think that that's a very, very big lesson for a lot of companies to learn, especially now. I think the companies that have heart and are taking care of their people are going to come out well, whereas those who maybe have not done so well during this time are not going, not done well by their people, I guess I should say, are not going to survive in the end. So
no, and what's interesting, just right now, we're all in a very like evaluation-based mindset. We're looking around at all of the facets of our life, and we're trying to make sense and put everything rightfully in its priority in our life. And I agree with you. I do think that those companies that show up with integrity, both customers and prospects and with their employees, how an organization, which is really just a collective of people, but how an organization makes people feel when anyone comes into contact with it, I think that's going to be imprinted very deeply right now because everybody's very sensitive. I have a book recommendation too on this topic, if it's a good time to share.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so prior to all of this, I read a book. It's called Marketing Rebellion, and it's by Mark Schaefer. And the tagline is "The most human company wins," and it speaks to mostly from a customer prospect perspective, but how buyers are so over the traditional marketing messages. They don't want to be sold to, they want to be connected with. And so for companies that want to embody the philosophy of authenticity and these things, I highly recommend that book. It was one of those books that you read and your perspective shifts. And there was one sentence in there that really helped fuel the way we've been showing up during this time. And it says in there, and I can't verbatim, but it says something to the effect, be of your community, not in your community. And so we've really been working to be in of our community, not just a Vegas-based company. Like, we want to be part of that community. And there are just so many great tips. I highly recommend it.
I love that. And what was the title again?
Marketing Rebellion by Mark Schaefer.
Marketing Rebellion by Mark Schaefer. Alan, would you mind typing that in the comments so we've got that
Alan.
in there? I don't know what I'll do when Alan has to actually go back to work again. It's great having an assistant.
I kind of sprung that on you. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. And also, Alan, go ahead and after you put that in, go ahead and put the Steelhead link in as well. We'll put that
thank you.
But I also saw a survey online that said 43% of consumers will buy more from brands that respond well to crisis. And I think that also speaks a lot, and we're watching that. I know Alan and I have observed a lot of commercials on TV and what their the framework or the perspective, I guess you could say, that they're taking. And we talked about this in one of our previous virtual lunches, but, some companies are handling this all very well, and others are just talking all about themselves. And it's been really interesting to watch how, the different approaches that companies are taking. But, you guys have done a lot, I know. And, anything you've got coming up, anything you can tease us with that you're going to be doing for either your community or those of us in the trade show community as a whole?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So for the trade show community as a whole, we've put together a trend series that our designers have been working very diligently on for 2020. And it's all of the micro and macro trends that are happening in marketing in general. And so from our perspective, if event planners and all those suppliers that are helping guide the future of events, if we can be really privy to all of the big marketing micro macro trends, it'll make us better at what we do and how we do it. That actually kicks off today, but we are recording all of the sessions. They will be hosted every Tuesday until the end of July, and it's open to anybody who's interested. So please, all of your guests are welcome to join. And then for us in our Give Happy committee, we're currently working with the foster care system in the state of Nevada, which has been very taxed given everything that's going on. And so we're not really doing anything publicly, but we have been working to supply meals to foster homes who are taking taking in more foster kids because they've stopped the approval of more foster homes being certified. And it's just kind of had a compound effect. And the youth, they didn't really ask to be here and in their given circumstance. I've been a foster mom twice, and we have a few other steelheaders, who feel particularly connected too because they've been in the system or something to that effect. And so we're really just wanting to show up well for the foster care community in Vegas.
That's awesome. I did not know about the foster care connection. I hadn't heard that Steelhead was involved in that. So that's very cool.
Yeah, we just started. And again, we have a committee that drives all of our philanthropic efforts. And so that bubbled up. The committee meets every month, and the committee decides how we want to rally all of our collective resources. And so after we did the drive and drop, this was the next thing that kind of bubbled up out of our committee meeting.
That's cool. Well, and it's good that you guys are taking different approaches, and you're doing, you're focusing on different charities and different needs in your community. So, well, thank you so much, Rhiannon, for taking time out to be here today and being a guest in the cafe for virtual lunch.
Thank you for having me.
And I am definitely looking forward to that webinar series. So I'll be checking that out, and hopefully some other people are going to sign up for that as well. But thank you again for showing how we can really market with heart in these days, especially.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So again, thanks to all of you for joining us today. I did just want to share one other thing along the lines of marketing with heart. This was an article that I came across focused on the hospitality industry, but I thought the message was really good, talking about that we need to focus on people. And Rhiannon talked about that, is focusing on people, both your staff and your customers. And they were talking about things that the hospitality industry could do. But since we are kind of in that hospitality industry, a lot of these things apply, things like relaxing cancellation policies, adjusting loyalty programs, implementing actions to build trust. So, this might be a good article, Alan, if you want to go ahead and put that one up, to check out, that gives some ideas of things that you can do to help be more compassionate to your audience. And I know in the trade show world, we won't name names, but we've seen some shows that have done a good job in how they handle the cancellation or postponement of their events this year. And we've seen others that have not handled it so well. So, I think to always take that perspective of, how would I feel as the audience member? How would I feel as the, exhibitor who is being mistreated by show management, or being taken advantage of by show management? Or how would I feel as the customer who's in this situation? If you can always try to turn it around and look at it from your audience's perspective, I think that's a really important way to look at it. So that is it for today's virtual lunch. Thanks to everybody for joining us. And be sure we'll be back here next Tuesday. We've got a couple of really great guests coming up. I don't have a guest yet for next Tuesday. So if you're interested in sharing your story, let me know. Or if you've got a topic you'd like me to cover. But coming up later this month, like I said, we're going to have a State of the Industry report. And I've also got another guest coming up that's going to talk about, should we say, how to blend the online and the offline world in a physical way. So anyway, I'll just kind of leave that as a teaser, and you'll just have to come back. So anyway, thanks for joining us for virtual lunch, and we look forward to seeing you next week in the Exhibit Marketers Cafe. And in the meantime, if there's anything I can do, please reach out to me. And everybody have a safe and fun holiday weekend. Bye.